is a crazy situation right now. There's a few towns that are part of Spain that are on the African continent, and Ceuta is one of them. Literally over 60,000 migrants came across their border. A lot of people are wondering what actually happened, so therefore we're heading there right now to see it for ourselves. Watch out, watch out, watch out. Now we got people throwing stuff at us. Look, he's got the rocks now. He's throwing rocks. Oh shit. They're throwing rocks. No. Look, now we're getting chased. He has a knife. He has a knife. He's got a knife.
Hey, what's up? As you see, Nick Shirley walked into one of the most politically charged migration hotspots in Europe. He asked a couple easy questions and suddenly finds himself in a situation that turned really dangerous, really fast. But it wasn't just the confrontation that caught my attention.
Just recently, in April, the Prime Minister of Spain came out with a plan to give over 500,000 migrants legal status here inside of the country.
It was one name, Pedro Sanchez.
How come you came to Spain?
How come Pedro Sanchez?
Pedro Sanchez good?
Pedro Sanchez good.
Pedro Sanchez. Pedro Sanchez.
Pedro Sanchez, gracias. Pedro Sanchez, I love you. Pedro Sanchez, قول له راجل مزيان، قول له
Pedro Sanchez.
good, very good, جيد.
Bueno. Mucho bueno.
Mucho bien. Gracias, gracias.
Viva Pedro Sanchez.
Viva, bravo. Pedro Sanchez, I love you.
Again and again, this name came up. Outside of Spain, most people have little idea who Pedro Sanchez even is. But inside Spain, he's one of the most polarizing political figures in the country's modern history. Some see him as a leader trying to navigate impossible challenges in an increasingly divided Europe. Others believe his immigration policies and political decisions have fundamentally changed Spain, and they blame him for the growing tension now playing out in places like Ceuta. So who is Pedro Sanchez? And why is he praised by the migrants and shunned by the locals?
And your Prime Minister right now, according to Polymarket, he has the second best odds of becoming the Prime Minister again, but his odds are very low on Polymarket. But your Prime Minister just created a way for over 500,000 migrants to get legal status here inside of Spain. Do you think your Prime Minister Sanchez is trying to up his odds and his probability of becoming the Prime Minister once again by importing all these migrants?
Yeah, because he knows that he has a strategy, a very clear strategy. He gets the money from the taxes, from the working people in Spain, and he gives away some help to these migrants, and then he easily can get boats. He's basically buying boats. If they allow this to become the third world, they know, people in power, they know that they will be able to do whatever they want. They will increase their power because a ruler in the third world is a real ruler.
At this point, you can already see why this story is bigger than one encounter on the streets of Ceuta. To understand why his name keeps coming up, we need to take a step back for a moment. Who is Pedro Sanchez? What does he believe? What policies has his government pursued? And why has he become such a divisive figure, not only among Spaniards, but across Europe? Let's take a closer look at the man behind the controversy. To understand why Pedro Sanchez has become such a polarizing figure, his relationship with the United States, particularly under President Donald Trump, has been marked by repeated public disagreements. Sanchez has often taken positions that differ sharply from Trump's on issues such as immigration, defense spending, and foreign policy. Those differences became even more visible during the 2026 conflict involving Iran, when Sanchez openly opposed the military campaign, arguing that diplomacy should take priority and refused to allow Spain's jointly operated military bases to be used for offensive operations against Iran. The dispute escalated into a public diplomatic clash, with Trump openly criticizing Spain and even threatening economic consequences during the standoff. At the same time, Sanchez has pursued stronger diplomatic, economic, engagements with China. In recent years, he has made multiple high-profile visits to Beijing, emphasizing trade, investments, and dialogue, even as relations between China and many Western governments have become increasingly strained. Supporters argue that Spain is simply protecting its economic interest and maintaining open channels with one of the world's largest economies. Critics, however, believe Sanchez has moved Spain too close to Beijing at a time when many of Spain's allies are trying to reduce their dependence on China and confront growing security concerns. Whether you see Pedro Sanchez as a pragmatic leader navigating a complicated world or as a politician steering Spain in the wrong direction depends largely on your own political perspective. But one thing is difficult to dispute. His decisions on immigration, international alliances, China, and the Middle East have made him one of the most controversial leaders in Europe today. And that is exactly why, standing on the streets of Ceuta, Nick Shirley kept hearing the same name over and over again.
Pedro Sanchez.
Pedro Sanchez, gracias. Pedro Sanchez, I love you. Pedro Sanchez, قول له راجل مزيان، قول له
Pedro Sanchez.
good, very good, جيد.
Bueno. Mucho bueno.
Mucho bien. Gracias, gracias.
Viva Pedro Sanchez.
So what does Pedro Sanchez believe? Why has this government become so controversial? And why does his name spark such strong reactions, not just across Spain, but throughout Europe? Pedro Sanchez leads Spain's center-left Socialist Workers' Party, and throughout his time in office, he has promoted policies focused on expanding the role of government, strengthening social welfare programs, advancing progressive social reforms, and supporting a more open approach to immigration than many of his political opponents. His government has also backed stronger climate initiatives, labor protections, and closer integration with the European Union. Supporters argue these policies reflect a modern, compassionate vision of Spain, one that embraces diversity, protects workers, and positions the country as an influential voice within Europe. They credit Sanchez with steering Spain through difficult economic and political challenges while maintaining Spain's role with the European Union and NATO. His critics see a much different picture. They argue his immigration policies have encouraged increased irregular migration, placing growing pressure on border cities such as Ceuta and the Canary Islands, the controversies that have defined his time in office.
¿Por qué mujeres no vinieron aquí?
mujeres a la casa, como dice en el Islam. الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. قولها.
No.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Peace.